Sahajaste, natural in me, affirms natural in you. On the path of yoga, on any spiritual path, in the beginning, we need tools and practices. Although those tools and practices cannot take us to our ultimate goal, but they prepare the ground so that that liberation, that samadhi, that kaivalya, that freedom can happen. Also, we have to remember that these tools only work if we have passion, exuberance, lot of energy. So when we practice or we use these tools, they will energize us. To break any old patterns, we need energy. And when this energy, passionate energy, is combined with tools, we can certainly break the old pattern and explore new dimensions and ultimately arrive at our destination. So practice with passion. And also, if we understand the science and philosophy of these tools, then our mind will be more engaged and more interested in it. And also, we have to remember that we will need patience. Because in real life, on a spiritual path, 1 plus 1 is hardly ever 2. Because life is non-linear. Whatever you invest into it, you don't know how that investment will come back to you, how much it will pay you. Of course, when you deposit your money in bank in guaranteed saving scheme, you know that you will get 2% interest, 3% interest, very linear. It may be compound interest. But here in real life, on a spiritual path, in any yoga, we don't know. Perhaps you put 1,000 hours, but still you are waiting and nothing happened. So in practice, we have to have philosophy or scientific understanding of that practice. So practice, philosophy and science, passion, because if we don't do it with passion, it will become a mechanical practice and it won't go anywhere. And the last one is patience. Practice, philosophy, passion, and patience. And what is the main tool on the path of Nad Yoga? It is mantra. Although there are very elaborate other tools also, other practices also, but the most important is mantra. Beside mantra, there are bhajans, there is a kirtan, there are ragas, there is instrumental music. But why I'm saying mantra is the best? Because mantra is very simple. It is simplest. because there's such a huge variety of mantra. It may have single syllable, it may have 2-3 syllables, it may have 4 lines. So depending on your ability or interest, you can pick and choose. So for example, Beach Mantra has just one letter or one syllable. That's it. So easy to do. But there are some complex mantra which have 3 or 4 lines. If you can master them, great. Now, what is the meaning of mantra? Mantra has 2 meanings, and it is derived from 2 words, man and tra. Man means mind, tra means a tool. Tool in the hands of mind to progress on Nad Yoga path. And what is the meaning of that tool in the hands of mind? Because normally our life, our brain is full of noise, chaos, constant turmoil and turbulence because of our emotions and thinking. Of course, we keep it under check by putting a lid of our consciousness. So this becomes subconscious. And that is why we want to distract ourselves into millions of things. We want to remain busy doing one or the other thing, because as soon as we will stop, this whole chaos, turmoil and turbulence will come up and we will become very restless. That is the reason of busyness, that we don't want to face ourselves, our own chaos. And from where this chaos comes, actually it is a result of our culture, our upbringing, our education. Because none of them recognize who we are. We were born with our original vibration, unique personality, integrative intelligence. But what culture, society, family, or our system want us to follow them. So if we follow them, then we have to ignore our original unique vibration. So there is a tremendous conflict constantly. There are very few people whose nature can flow with the nature of culture, family, and community. But mostly there is a conflict, outer conflict, inner conflict, and that causes chaos. So what happens, what mantra does? It becomes a tool in the hands of mind, and once you are repeating it, once you are chanting it with energy, your brain and body will start vibrating with it. Because that is what happens with all music. The moment you start listening to the music, your brain, your body will start harmonizing with it, vibrating with it. You are soaked in it. That is why it brings tremendous comfort, relaxation, energy. So same thing about mantra, because you are repeating again and again and again. So eventually now your brain, your nerve cells, your physiology, your neurotransmitter are vibrating with this. So basically you have a tool in your hand which you can control, and by that tool you are replacing the whole cacophony, whole chaos, whole conflict which is given to you by outside, conditioned. So what that means, now you are taking control of yourself. So control is no more outside. Of course, it takes some patience, it takes a while. But even this tool of mantra in the hands of the mind is not truly your own. But at least your brain is vibrating with this mantra with the frequency of chant. There is a sense of harmony, there is a sense of calmness, there is a sense of energy, there is a sense of relaxation. You are more comfortable, you are more calm. Once you are more calm, what happens? Your awareness expands. When we are anxious, stressed, our awareness narrows. So now you are widening your awareness and also calmness, as if the lake of your mind is very tranquil. Now, when it becomes tranquil, what you will start becoming aware of your own original, unique vibration or music of your life, which is already there, but it was buried underneath. So you can see that tool doesn't take you there because it is already there. What it does, when it calms down your mind, which you can control those tools, you become aware of it. And more you focus on your unique original vibration, it becomes more and more prominent, more and more loud. And slowly what happens? Gradually the practice becomes less important because now the practice is inner. It becomes slowly effortless, and a point comes when practice is simply disappears and you are effortlessly into inner practice because you discovered the inner vibration. Now you discovered your own unique mantra, song of your life. You don't need any tools. Just like in a rocket. Rocket is launched, and in order to push it beyond Earth, it needs escape velocity, which is given by very powerful pushers. But a point comes, they have to fall apart. They are not needed because now there is a place where it is going to float on its own. So that is what mantra is. Number one, tool to control yourself, take control out of your background culture. And then second meaning of mantra is mantra, beyond mind, beyond mind. So eventually what happens, the technique falls apart and you discover your mantra. So this inner mantra is which took you beyond any tools of the mind. But that is about inner mantra. It has nothing to do with outer mantra. So that is why mantra is important, the most important, because it is easy, it is short, you can chant it anytime, and there is such a huge variety of mantras. So if you are a body type, kinesthetic type, then there is a mantra for your body and energy, and those are called tantric mantras. We'll see them in visuals. If you are emotional and feeling type, then there are devotional mantras. If you are intellectual type, then there are mental or intellectual mantras. So you can see, no matter what kind of personality you have, you will have a mantra. So it is very important to know your own personality before you pick and choose mantra. Of course, you can practice any mantra, but you have a dominant personality. All three types, body type, feeling type, intellectual type personalities are in everyone, but one of them dominate. So choice of mantra will depend on your type. And mantra becomes like a lift, an elevator, or a ladder. So it will gradually take you up. Although whatever you want to discover in that building where the elevator is already there. But it will help you to bring to that level, and then you leave the lift and enter into a place where you want to go. And as you chant mantra, as you go deep into it, first of all, it will affect your emotions, feelings, and thought. But gradually, actually, it will change you at cellular level. And sound or mantra has that unique quality because it is so powerful, it is so physical, that ultimately it will bring cellular changes. And when that happens, mantra becomes automatic. And it won't be same mantra which you started, because once you get a cellular level, you will discover your own mantric energy, your own unique mantra. So that is the beauty of mantra, a tool which will take you beyond the mind, your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings. Of course, beside mantra, there are many practice, and now I will take you into those practice, talking a little bit in this session, and we will continue to explore. So let's go to some visuals. So practicing Nad Yoga, it is called sadhana, the spiritual effort. Now, like any other path or yoga, this practice can be very active or receptive. Active means when you are doing something. Receptive means you are simply listening to it. So the first important practice is silence. If you sit in silence, then you will be listening to the inner nad, inner vibration in your body, in your brain, in your heart, in your belly. So then that in itself is a very beautiful meditation in the beginning. Just sit very silently, as quiet as you can be, and start noticing just the vibration of the body. And by, you will be tuned into it, and it will become louder. Because your body contains so much naaz, so much music, so much vibration of different frequency. And you can discover very easily. You simply put your hands and you close your ear and just listen what is happening. So that can be discovered in silence. Then mantras, I talked. Then come kirtan. Kirtan is call and response. So somebody is singing one line and you are singing the same line. Call and response constantly going on. The word kirtan comes from kirti. Kirti means glory. Singing the glory of the sacred, wholesome cosmic energy. You can give it a form of divine, you can give it a form of deity, it doesn't matter. But you are talking here something larger than you. Then comes bhajan. Bhajan is usually sung solo. Usually there is no call or response. Bhajan. What is the meaning of bhajan? Bhaj means remembering the cosmic energy, the divine and the sacred. Then comes japa. Japa means when you are doing lot of repetition of chant, either silently or loudly, that is japa. Then comes singing a rag. Rag is the central feature or way of singing or instrumental music in Indian classical music. So Indian classical music, the very core, very center is rag. And rag means which will color you, soak you with a particular type of feelings. It's all feeling based. Then instrumental music, you know. And finally, meditations. There are specific meditations, 11 of them, which are mentioned in a very old book of meditation called Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, almost 4,000 years old according to some people. And that book contains 111 meditations. And out, not 111, 112. And out of those 112, 11 are about Nadi Yoga. So that almost completes the list. Of course, in Nadi Yoga, we can add asanas or poses, breathing, and also movements with chant called kriyas. So you are chanting and you are swaying or dancing, it becomes kriya. Because as we discussed earlier, you cannot separate body movement from music or sound. They are inseparable. That is why Kriyas are very effective. In few minutes, you can be fully absorbed in it. Now there is a styles of chanting. So there are different types of mantra, body, emotions, feeling, mental, but there are ways of chanting, style of chanting. First is called Vakari. Vakari means when you are chanting loudly. And that loud chant, as you can see, the brown part of the brain cortex, it comes from there. It is connected from there. Loud chanting is very good in the beginning, but loud chanting doesn't need much awareness. You will find that once you are chanting loudly, you can keep on chanting and not pay much attention. It can become automatic. So loud is good in the beginning because you have to go deep into your brain to explore the different levels of awareness. So then you come to Madhyama. Madhyama means in the middle. In the middle. Here chanting become whisper. If you are whispering, you have to pay lot of attention. So in those moments of love or relative silence, we whisper to each other, but that need tremendous awareness. Because in order to whisper, you have to pay so much attention. Because it is a very subtle way of expressing yourself. Third one is silent chanting. Neither loud nor whisper, but silent. Now, in silent chanting, quite often you will connect them with images. Because it also comes from the middle part of the brain where dreams come from. So it is quite possible that various images will emerge. So now you are connecting images with your chanting. And finally, in the very lower part of the brain, when you go, there is a sense of silence. That is where original vibration emerge and everything becomes spontaneous. First three phases you have to do. Fourth, which is called para. Para means beyond effort. It becomes your nature and you need not to do much. And these four types of chanting, as you can see, they are connected to various chakras. Loud chanting with the throat, consciousness, top part of the brain. Madhyama, heart. Anahat chakra, fourth chakra. Pashyanti means when you are seeing images, it goes even deeper into your belly. Manipura, fourth chakra, solar chakra. And finally, para goes down to the root chakra. You are going deeper and deeper and deeper into silence. Loud, whisper, silent, spontaneous. Human brain is the most noisy brain. The middle part, which belongs to animal, is less noisy. And the lowest part, which belongs to reptilians, very primal animals, there is a silence because in those animals there were sounds, there were no language. And that is why the consciousness also differ. So consciousness at para, root chakra, is transcendental. You went beyond. Manipura, or where the images come, where the Silence is there, that is deep sleep, peace. Madhyama, where whisper happens, there is a dream, because dreams are like whispers of our normal life. And Vakari means throat chakra, and that is Jagrat, wakeful, conscious. Of course, you can connect to the type of bodies and so on and so forth. I won't like to go in details. And I already talked about it. The mantras which activate your energy or body, they are tantric mantras. They are connected with Kundalini, because Kundalini is body energy. And then emotional energy is devotional mantras, heart chakra. Because body is connected with first and second chakra, that is where tantric mantras function. And then emotional energy, third and fourth chakra, devotional mantra, mind energy is the fifth chakra. And that is where a lot of Vedic mantras, uh, they are active. They affect our mind. Tantric mantra, you can take freedom in chanting because they don't have a rigid constitution. Devotional mantra, you can take them anywhere the way you want to sing. Meanwhile, the Vedic mantras or mental mantra, they have more precision. Although even if you don't chant them with precision, you will have effect. But if you are chanting the way they should chant, their effect will be more. So you can see that a very vast world of mantras. And in India, in medieval ancient time, nearly all scriptures and holy books, they were written in the form of mantras. Mantras were like formula, music and mathematics. When they were memorized for oral tradition to transmit the knowledge, they not only transmit the knowledge, but they transform the person who was memorizing them. But of course, that memorization again comes with passion. That is the beauty of mantra at all levels. Sahajaste.